Good afternoon, everybody. Eddie Webb. We are here at the new Media Lab at Mesa Community College, and it is our privilege today to have with us the former president of the governing board of the Maricopa Community Colleges, a former chancellor in California, Dr. Linda Thor. And today we're going to be talking about HB 2523, which will allow community colleges to offer up to 10% of their degrees in the bachelor's certificate or credentials, and that would be for the first 4 years and then 15% thereafter. This is a bold undertaking and one that really gets me fired up. I'm so looking forward to this podcast and hearing about this and perhaps some history around these laws and how they've worked in other, I know you've mentioned working in California with some of this. Dr. Linda Thor, welcome to the new Media Lab.
Well, thank you, Dr. Webb. I'm really delighted to be here and particularly happy to be talking about the Community College Baccalaureate, an idea whose time has definitely come for Arizona.
You were telling me a little bit about your experience in California. Could you talk to us a little more about that?
Actually, I can tell some history prior to California. I was president of Rio Salado College from 1990 to 2010. And back in 1996, I partnered with the president of Yavapai College to pursue some limited authority for community colleges to offer baccalaureate degrees then. We probably naively felt that this would be fairly easy to do, that we'd only have to remove 4 words from the authorizing legislation for community colleges. And those 4 words are part of the sentence that says community colleges offer programs of study up to 4 years. So we just wanted to delete up to 4 years, and then we'd be in the baccalaureate business. World War III broke out in Arizona, and it was one of the few times that you saw the universities, the public universities, aligning, say, with the University of Phoenix to keep us from getting that authority. Mm-hmm. We did get the bill through both houses of the legislature, only to have it vetoed by then Governor Fife Symington. We came back the next year and the next year, and periodically over the years, the bill has continued to be reintroduced. This year is the closest that we have come so far to getting it passed. At any rate, I left the Maricopa Community Colleges in 2010 to become the chancellor of the Foothill De Anza Community College District that serves the Silicon Valley of California. And shortly after I arrived there, I got a call from the chancellor of the San Diego Community College District who said, "Hey, I hear you know something about community college baccalaureates. I'd like you to partner with me to try to get this legislation passed in California." I told her that I didn't need any more scars, that I had gotten enough in Arizona, but she said, "No, I am certain that we can get this passed." At any rate, we went on a campaign to first get grassroots support from community colleges around California and also get the support of veterans groups and chambers of commerce and so on. The bill, which did have to be compromised many times over to have the universities take a neutral stance on it, made it through all committees, both houses of the legislature, without a single no vote, and was signed by the governor. The bill allows 15 of the 114 California community colleges to offer 1 baccalaureate degree each. So the battle is still on in California to expand the number of colleges and the numbers of degrees. But the California experience did tell me that you can get this done. And I do hope that the time has come for Arizona. 23 states have already given community colleges this authority, including every state surrounding Arizona.
Who was the governor at the time in California?
Jerry Brown.
Jerry Brown.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that every tax-paying citizen in Arizona, every landowner, every business person in the state of Arizona should get behind this bill. And I think it should be expanded into other areas because Maricopa, being one of the biggest community colleges in the country, if not in the world, we have the infrastructure, we have the talent, we have everything that we need to offer high-level four-year degrees. We have amazing faculty, staff, students. I think the whole ship is ready, to set sail. It's the politics, right? It sounds like it's the politics of that that prevent us from delivering affordable public education to residents of Arizona. And, that's always a shame, I think, when politics get involved with higher ed without good compromise, as you say, right? We should be working together to move this forward. Some of the opposition would be ASU, NAU, U of A. That's our three principal universities.
Yes. Unlike back in 1996 when the University of Phoenix was a major opponent, now it's primarily the public universities.
So the bill now is on the floor now, right? Is it in committee and moving through?
So the bill started in the House, as the sponsor, Becky Nutt, is a member of the House. It went first to the House Education Committee, where it unanimously passed out, or pretty close to unanimously, and then went to the floor of the House, where it passed 97-3, so with very large support. It's now over on the Senate side and is tentatively scheduled to be heard by the Senate Education Committee on March 16th. And if it passes out of that committee tentatively to the Senate Finance Committee on March 17th, then it would go to the full Senate floor and then to the governor's desk.
What do you think the biggest challenge is?
Well, the biggest challenge is the opposition from the universities, because I believe that there are many legislators who support the community colleges, but they also support the universities.
Sure.
And they don't wish to find themselves in the middle of, what they might perceive to be a family fight.
Mm. Yeah, no, nobody wants to get in those.
Yeah.
I want to hear from you why you're so excited about the four-year degree.
My excitement comes from when I was president of Rio Salado College. And Rio Salado did and does a lot of partnerships with business and industry and government sectors. And we were the partners with the Phoenix Regional Police Academy, where individuals who were completing the police academy could go on and complete an associate degree in law enforcement technology with Rio Salado. However, when those officers wanted to move up in the ranks, they needed to have a bachelor's degree. The universities at that time would not recognize the degree in law enforcement technology and would force those officers to have to start over. So the chief of police of the city of Phoenix at the time came to us and said, "You do such a great job with the associate degree. Could you expand that to a bachelor's degree?" And I said, "Well, we've just got one little problem. And that's those 4 words I talked about, up to 4 years." As I started looking into this possibility, I found that there were very few states at that time in 1996 that did give their community colleges the authority. But those that did were having great success because the community colleges were developing bachelor's degrees in areas of great workforce demand that were not currently being offered by the public universities in their state. So what was motivating these states and these colleges was to keep students in their state and in their area who otherwise would have to leave to get a bachelor's degree in a particular workforce area. Secondly, meet the needs of the employers. And then third is that it allows students to stay in their local area with the community college that they know and love until completion of their ultimate goal, a bachelor's degree. Additionally, all across the country, community colleges were doing this in a very affordable way. I talked about my California experience. A bachelor's degree at a community college in California cost just over $10,000 for all 4 years. We could do the same thing here in Arizona in the range of about $10,000 to $13,000. Basically 25% of what it costs to get a bachelor's degree at one of our public universities. So I'm obviously a community college lover. I love both our mission and our values and the students that we serve, and I want us to be able to meet all of their needs.
I think that as I've gone through the bill and gone through the questions and, studied a little bit on it, almost every argument should be a no-brainer, right? And like I say, then it just comes back to that sense of power, I guess.
Right.
Because if Arizona, does such have conservative roots in many ways throughout the state, this makes perfect sense as well, right? To have a choice, to be able to stay in your own community, to have affordable education, and high quality faculty and learning degrees and all that we offer. It just should be a landslide over into passing this legislation. And when guys, we're talking about HB 2523, making it possible for a community college to offer up some bachelor's degrees for our citizens. In part of the bill so this bill's been coming downtown from what I understand, about 25 years. People have been working on this. And the biggest hurdle, as you just articulated, was the sense of right of refusal, where not only can the universities try to stop us from offering these degrees, but that they don't accept the classes to transfer. Is that correct?
As it relates to the bill, the proposal that the universities have a first right of refusal relates to colleges proposing to offer a specific bachelor's degree. Their request is that they be given the opportunity to say, we'll do it instead of you.
Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily relate to the transfer of credits from the community college. In fact, out of the early efforts back in the mid-1990s, the universities did implement applied baccalaureate degrees specifically intended to accept in transfer credits from AAS degrees. So some progress was made back then to improve the transferability of community college, particularly career and technical education degrees.
So what area gets you most excited about offering this degree? What discipline?
Well, we are committed to offering degrees that are in areas of high workforce demand and do not unnecessarily duplicate what the public universities are offering. So specifically, these would include programs in the allied health area. To give you an example, a Gateway Community College offers an associate degree in respiratory therapy. Yet none of the public universities offer a bachelor's degree in respiratory therapy, even though the industry is now moving towards a preference for baccalaureate prepared respiratory therapists.
Excellent.
So what we would do in that instance is simply add the additional courses to the already existing AAS degree to then have a bachelor's degree. And to go back to my California experience, one of my colleges there, Foothill College, began offering the baccalaureate degree in dental hygiene. And because the requirements, the licensure requirements to be a dental hygienist are the same, whether you have an AAS degree or a BAS degree, we simply had to add 4 or 5 largely general education courses to then have a bachelor's degree, which is what the industry was preferring. So we have many other examples in the healthcare area where this is true. We also are interested in the education area, the teacher preparation area, because even with all of the public universities operating at capacity in their teacher education program, they cannot turn out enough graduates to fill all of the vacancies that the state has. An additional area would be applied technology, and which can range from everything from the manufacturing areas to all of the IT areas. And then typically, and I think this would be true here, but typically around the country, you also see community colleges developing bachelor's degrees in industries that are pretty unique to their area. So you might see Yavapai College doing a bachelor's degree in viticulture because of the growing wine industry that they have up there. So healthcare, education, applied technology, and other areas of workforce demand with a regional emphasis.
Well, sounds exciting, and it sounds like it's easier to start to develop the 300 level classes, and equally making sure that those general ed courses now early on start to align with the degrees, which again can be very, very beneficial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as we see in some of our current partnerships, say with NAU, up to 90 credits can actually be completed at the lower division level. And then the additional 30 would be upper division. So I would, envision that we would be looking at some of those kinds of models. An additional benefit of being able to offer the bachelor's degree is that not only can our current students stay with us until they complete it, but around the country, we have seen former graduates coming back to add those additional courses, and their former associate degree now becomes a bachelor's degree. So it's not only meets students' needs, employer needs, but it's good for enrollment as well.
It's a win-win-win-win, sounds like. Let me ask you, if we started offering 300 level class, would there be an increase in those level of tuition and credentials for those folks teaching those courses?
So the current bill, HB 2523, puts a cap on how much tuition we can charge for the upper division courses. And that cap is 150% of the current lower division tuition. So we're $85 a credit hour. So what would that be? 127, something like that for the upper division. But just as a lower division tuition is set by the local governing board, so would the tuition for the upper division courses within the limitations of the legislation.
So we could still stay within that threshold of 25% of what it would normally cost.
So that's where I came up with a bachelor's degree for all 4 years would be between $10,000 and approximately $13,000. $10,000 being the $85 a credit hour for the total 120 credits. the 13,000 being the 150% at the upper division level.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't know how these don't get passed. I mean, other than to, again, put in the political factor, it makes fiscal sense. It makes the taxpayer should be absolutely thrilled to hear that we can deliver a bachelor's degree, a 4-year degree, for 25% of what it would cost to go to a university. And ASU seems to be, like, I was downtown. I hadn't been downtown or in Tempe in a while. This looks like Chicago.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're just eating up everything.
Yeah.
And I talked to the mayor last year about bringing in other universities and the downtown education system that ASU is building downtown Mesa. And he said he felt like there was plenty of students for everybody. So I don't, you know what I mean? Like and plus, if we do the front end articulation with our universities, it would seem like they would want us to do that part and to send more students to the 400 level courses.
Well, nationally, only about a third of community college students go on to universities to get a bachelor's degrees. And that's for a variety of reasons, including, individuals who live in rural areas who would have to move to attend one of the universities, to the cost and, the tremendous student loan debt that we're experiencing in this country. Yet we know that in the very near future, 7 out of 10 jobs are going to require post-secondary education for sure, but in many instances, bachelor's degrees. So, Arizona is committed to having 60% of our adult population with some post-secondary credentials. We're not going to get there unless we do some bold things, such as making bachelor's degrees more accessible in areas that will lead to really good jobs for students.
Yeah, and affordable.
Yeah.
Very, very reasonable. We've invested a lot of our infrastructure and resources into our pathway programs.
Mm-hmm.
How will this strengthen those programs?
Actually, I think they will align very, very well. And again, I should emphasize that we're not talking about offering traditional degrees, such as a bachelor's degree in political science, English, or music. We're talking about workforce-based degrees that are currently not being addressed by the public universities, are not being adequately addressed because the demand is greater than the university's capacity to do so.
It's almost the proposal answers all the questions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I look at these questions and you've already answered them all. I mean, It just makes complete 100% sense in every area to move this forward. But have we done any studies around like how this can lift up low-income students, up underrepresented populations? Do we have some data around that?
So we are, while it's regrettable that we were not in the forefront of this movement back in the mid-90s,
yes.
But a benefit of being where we are today is that we do have the experience of the 23 other states that already have these programs going. And their experience is that they are enrolling overwhelmingly underrepresented students. So we're clearly not taking away the traditional university students. We are opening the doors for students who otherwise would not have that opportunity.
Yeah.
And the experience in other states is that the completion rate by students is very, very high. And because these are areas of workforce demands, they are generating high placement and high starting salaries. In some studies, such as in the state of Florida, graduates coming out of community college baccalaureate programs are earning more and having a higher placement rate than those coming out of the public universities.
That's wonderful. That's absolutely, you can't help but get excited when you start to talk about the details the potential, the possibility. If you're a politician looking for a platform, here you go. 25% of what it would cost to get a 4-year degree at a university. We can do it right here at Maricopa Community Colleges. Another question we have is, along with these degrees, we also need to upgrade our infrastructure, like around labs, right? And so what sort of cost factor what's the analysis on the cost factor?
Actually, some of the programs that we're thinking about now, such as respiratory therapy, again, to continue with that example,
Yeah.
we already have the faculty, the labs, the equipment that's necessary. What, again, would be added are the upper division courses such as, a management course or a statistics course. They're going to be more general ed. So, while there's sure to be some additional expense, it will, in my opinion, will not be as high as one might initially think. Again, because we have the faculty, we have the expertise, we have the curriculum, we have the labs.
Yeah.
What we need is the ability to add on the additional requirements to award a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, we need to be able to reach our full potential and be the real. I've always said this. I've been here 21 years. I don't think we've touched our potential because of these sorts of dynamics with the universities and our mission. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to comment about mission, because some of the criticism that you will hear about the community college baccalaureate is that it is, quote, mission creep. Well, I would argue that it's not mission creep at all, because community college, that besides transfer, a primary function of community colleges is to do workforce preparation. And so what has happened is that the requirements of employers have changed. So we're still doing workforce, but we need to be providing the workforce degree that employers want and need.
I came back to teaching full time here. I was an older person. And, I've been involved with business. I had my contractor's license. I had worked in the mortgage industry a bit, but primarily was doing a lot of educational consulting work. And all the folks I still know from private business, I ask them all the time, do you want us to send you highly educated folks to work for you, with critical thinking skills and cultural intelligence? And I've never had one single business person say, no, this is exactly what they want.
Right.
They want well-rounded, well-thinking, creative, problem-solving folks to hire, right? And so when we talk about aligning these degrees with our general ed, that gets me excited too, because we can now start to move. And I hope the listener I'm saying this with a good heart here, but expand just our developmental classes, that we can actually get into language, art, and literacy at a deeper level. I'd like to see our humanities courses start to modernize. That's what we do here in the New Media Lab, is we're infusing technology, because we know if a student comes here and gets in their general ed courses in literature and English and language, but they can leave here knowing how to produce a PSA, right? Or they know how to create animation and real high quality multimedia projects. They simply become the highest value candidate for a job, right? And so at every level, if we raise the ceiling, that means on the ground floor, we can start to develop curriculum, modernize our curriculum. And I find that, again, a win-win situation for all of us. It's really frustrating to not understand how it's taken 25 years. It must, your frustration.
Yes.
You've been working on this a lifetime.
You do make a very good point, though, that although we're talking about degrees in applied science, again, degrees that are in great workforce demand, having the authority to offer baccalaureate degrees will open up opportunities for our liberal arts faculty as well.
That's right.
Because we will need to add those upper division general ed courses. So thank you. That's an important point to make.
Yeah, because we want to prepare, again, if we align this not only with our external pathway, but our internal pathways, we want the student to arrive at the 300 level class with the best education possible.
Mm-hmm.
Again, win, win, win.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a question here from the faculty that wanted to say, we sure spend a lot of time making sure that the community college doesn't encroach on our public universities. But what about the university? They keep kind of creeping into our area as well around general ed.
What really would be kind of a reverse mission creep.
As soon as I said that word, I went, no, I should use my education and use a different word, but it does fit, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I do find it ironic that particularly ASU, bills itself, as the leading innovator,
Right.
In higher education. But when the community colleges want to introduce an innovation such as the Community College Baccalaureate, we are stopped over and over and over.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough to understand how we continue with that, right? That we need to get over that hump. We need to stake, our flag and make sure that we get to reach our potential. I think that, what folks need to understand about the community college is you have real teachers at the community
Mhm.
college. I spent time, I was 4 years at ASU. I was up at UC Davis. I've taught in Switzerland, France, Germany, Italy. We have world-class teachers at a
Mhm.
community college.
We do.
These folks show up, they're highly credentialed. We have a ton of doctorate
Mhm.
faculty here, a ton of MFA and, master level faculty who have done amazing work, in their field, in publication, in community service. And I think that's the one thing you sort of see the difference between faculty at a university, a research university,
Mhm.
and where we're at is we're teachers.
Right.
We're in here, man, we're slugging it out day in and day out with our students. When I came from the university to the community college, it took me a few semesters to figure out I was actually teaching students to be students,
Mhm.
right? Because maybe they were
Mhm.
first generation students. They didn't have the study habits or the structure about how to behave as a student. And that became a big part of my curriculum now is, all sorts of time management, data management, resource management, study habits, and, all the stuff and to me, that's what I find exciting. And I think other faculty, once we get over the hump that this is a move by ASU to take us over,
Mhm.
and once everybody can get on the board, maybe we can chip away at them a little bit. I find that really exciting. I guess I'm getting a little political here, but I want to beat those guys. I just do. I just think Maricopa is such an amazing organization.
I think Arizona has room for great
Yes.
universities and great community colleges too.
Yeah.
And again, we are not proposing to duplicate
Right.
what they do.
That's right.
We're talking about meeting unmet needs.
Yeah. And making sure, as I read the bill and have spoken with folks, you all have done an exceptional job to be mindful of not duplicating and
Mhm.
being very mindful of what the citizens need, what the students need, and how to articulate those as a partnership with the universities. I hold 2 terminal degrees, one from ASU and one from NAU. So they've got, I appreciate their faculty and their work.
Of course.
My experience at NAU was just absolutely life-changing for me, just brilliant faculty. So I just think when we find this middle ground that it will just be a win-win-win-win situation.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered a lot of ground here. What would you say to faculty who have a sense of that uneasiness around this, of the unknowing? Like, well, what will that mean if I only have a master's degree? Or is this a move by ASU? I think we've clearly let people know it's not. But if for folks that are uneasy about it, should there be concern that the ASU could flip this and take over the community colleges?
I don't think you should be concerned about that at all. If that was ASU's intent, they'd be down at the legislature supporting this legislation, not
Right.
opposing it.
Right.
So again, we have 23 other states that faculty can look at to see what's happened in those states. In no instance has a community college left behind its community college mission and values. In no state has the majority of programs offered at that institution become baccalaureate. So we will continue to be a community college with all that that stands for.
Right.
And we'll have a handful of bachelor's degrees in areas of high workforce demand.
What a wonderful mission.
Yeah.
It could be. A couple of questions, final questions here. After 25 years, what makes this particular version of the bill different than the others?
What is different this year is that early on, we sat down with representatives of the Board of Regents and had a conversation about what would it take for ABOR and hopefully the universities under ABOR to at least be neutral on this bill if they could not be supportive. And out of that discussion came the guardrails that are currently in this bill, such as, governing boards having to have data on the workforce demand, on student interest, proof that we have the resources to be able to carry this out, the caps on the percentage of degrees that could be bachelor's degrees, as well as a requirement of reporting to the state what our enrollment has been, what completion has been, and so on. So with those guardrails in place, the universities did maintain neutrality through the bill's passage in the House, which I think was a big contributor to the fact that it passed out of the House 97-3.
Wow.
However, we then had additional demands from the universities for such things as the right of first refusal, or that no courses could be offered online. And those were not conditions that we were agreeable to, and particularly the bill's sponsor was not agreeable to. And so that's when the neutrality was dropped, and what contributes to us finding ourselves in a very different environment on the Senate side.
Wow, no online courses offered.
Right.
Why in a COVID world? How does that?
I can't speak for the universities.
Yeah.
What I can say is that some of the biggest demand for community college baccalaureates are in the rural areas.
Right.
And the rural areas absolutely need the ability to have online courses.
Absolutely. Yeah, distant learning. I mean, that's the root of distant learning is
Right.
rural education.
Right.
What if it once it passes, and it should, what body will decide which degrees will go to which college?
So community colleges in Arizona, as you well know, have locally elected governing boards. And the boards do have authority not only to set tuition, but have authority over the programs that are offered. So the decision will be made by the local governing board.
I like the fact that at least it is within our own camp. Yeah.
And of course, I should add that, the process of getting something to the governing board would go through all of the existing
Sure.
processes that we have right now
Right.
for new curriculum and new programs.
Right. That's wonderful. We really want to thank you for being with us today. And I think we got through all of the questions here.
That's great.
We always like to give our guests the opportunity for the final words. And so, is there anything that you would like to say to the Maricopa family about this bill, your hopes for it, and how you see it playing out?
What I would say is that if you're as excited about the opportunity to offer some limited baccalaureate degrees as I am, please reach out to your senator, your state senator, and let them know that this is an idea whose time has come for Arizona, that our students need this, our employers need this, and that you are requesting that they support this bill when it is before them.
Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Thank you.
It is so encouraging. And I, have been on the Senate a few times, and I've got to be in lots of meetings with you downtown and watch you. It is such an encouraging part of our system to see well-qualified educators sitting at the table giving us voice. And so we thank you for joining us today. And as they say in my dad's language, we'll see you again. And remember, everybody, take care of each other out there.